Hey guys, welcome back. It's day 3 of the challenge. Today we're talking about fertilizer, and this is how to get the fertility into your garden so that you can grow as much as possible. And I want to take a little bit of a contrarian or kind of a hot take approach to this. I don't want you to overthink it, and so I'm going to give you some very simple information, some things I've shared in the past that bear repeating when it comes to soil fertility. Those of us who sell vegetables need to eke out as much fertility from their soil as humanly possible, especially when we're farming on a small scale. I farm in under an acre, and so it's very important for me to make sure that I build my soil health and put as much fertility into it as possible. As a beginner gardener, you're wrestling with do I need a container? Can I start an in-ground garden? Should I start in a garden, green stalk? I don't want you to get bogged down with trying to come up with all of the different, determining which mycorrhizal fungi you should put in your soil is just going to freak you out and make you stop. You're going to be paralyzed. It's too much too soon. What I want to tell you is there are 3 basic fertilizers that I've used with great success when I started out as a newbie gardener, and I want to tell you what those are. Like I said, I've shared that in the past, and I've shared that in the past on TikTok, and so I'm sharing this here because I'm probably sharing this to other platforms as well. So the first one that I recommend, now let's back up before I get into the first one. I want to tell you about nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. So those are the 3 different macronutrients that your soil needs. Those are the first 3 types of things. Those are nutrients that your soil needs, that the microbes in your soil need to live and to thrive, and your plants need those. Those are you can kind of think of those in general terms. Nitrogen is for your green growth. Anytime you want to drive green leafy growth, you want to go for nitrogen. So if you've seen those 3 numbers 3 numbers on the label of fertilizer, it's NPK. They are always in that order. Nitrogen's always the first. And a high nitrogen fertilizer will usually have a very high first number and then very small or zeros for the other 2. And that just means it's a high nitrogen fertilizer and it's good for leaves growing up, right? So you want your leaves, obviously, they drive photosynthesis in the plant, and that's where they take the sun energy and convert it into energy the plant can use. So that's what we want to focus on there. So that's what the first one is. N is focusing on your nitrogen for your leaf. The second is your roots. Those are for phosphorus. That's the P. You do need to grow vigorous. You need vigorous root growth. Roots are what take the water from the soil and drive it up into the plant, break down the nutrients that have been broken down by microbes and worms and whatever else is in your healthy soil. You are going to need to have a high second number if you want to focus on your root growth, and that's your P. And then finally, your K is your potassium, and those are anytime you're trying to drive a ton of blooms or you want to make sure you're driving a bunch of fruit, you want to make sure you have a high K content. And so you can imagine that pretty much through the growing season, you're going to want all 3 of those things are a good idea, right? Like you don't want to ever exclude them. And so for some plants, whether you have more nitrogen at the beginning of the season becomes more important. Maybe we drive nitrogen first, maybe we wait. But the first fertilizer I want you to use, I want you to look for, is Espoma Garden Tone or something like it. And Espoma Garden Tone, ESPOMA is the name of the brand. There are other companies that have similar types of fertilizers, and this is a very good year-round type of fertilizer to give your plants what they need, especially if you're growing in containers. You honestly could throw this down and only use this all year round for your plants, and your plants would probably be okay. You're a beginner. Now, I'm not saying that if you're trying to grow a market garden, that's the only thing you need, okay? I'm making this easy for you. If you can find something similar to Espoma Garden Tone, you are definitely going to, you're going to fill your containers. If that's what you're gardening in, you're going to fill those containers with soil. You're going to put down and you're going to follow the instructions on the bag, and you're going to put that in there, and you're going to have great growth, and you may never need anything else, quite honestly. And you're a beginner gardener, and so that's what you're going to do. And so for me, I feel very good and very confident in telling you about that. The second one that I recommend, now Espoma is a powdered or granular fertilizer. It's really good to put in the planting hole at first when you're planting something, or it's also good if you want to side dress. And side dressing is it's when you've got your plant in the ground, your plant is established, and you want to give it a little more nutrition or fertility through the season, you'll put down a little handful of that granular fertilizer on the surface of the soil, and you'll kind of scratch it in, water it in, and those nutrients will come down into the soil. And that's something you do during the season to give yourself fertility. The second one that you can do is you can also do a Agro-Thrive, and that's my number 2 fertilizer that I recommend. The number 2 fertilizer is Agro-Thrive, and Agro-Thrive is very similar in approach. It's just a liquid version of the first fertilizer. They're not the same company or anything like that, but it's like a 3-3-2 is what Agro-Thrive is. It's liquid. So during the season, I told you I was going to make it easy on you. What I do is I have irrigation lines, and I will push Agro-Thrive through my irrigation lines through while I'm watering. It's called fertigation. It's fertilizer and irrigation at the same time. But you can do this in a watering can. If you find during the season you want to give your plants a boost, but you'd prefer to do it while you're watering so you don't forget, you can follow the directions on the package, put that in your watering can, mix it up with your water, and you're good to go. So you're adding fertility to your plant, and that is awesome, something that you want to do. And then finally, the third one I recommend is blood meal. And this is a high nitrogen. It's a 12-0-0 high nitrogen organic fertilizer that you use I use it to push green growth in my onions before they bulb up. So onions need a good vigorous amount of green growth to start with before day length triggers their bulbing. And so I use blood meal for that. It's organic and it has a high nitrogen. If you don't want to do an animal product, you can do alfalfa as your high nitrogen organic option. This is dark in color. It's really powdery and fine. So it's organic, like I said. I use the Down to Earth products, and I keep looking over here on my computer screen. I have an old TikTok so this video that I'm doing for you now is a deep dive into that short little 30-second TikTok that I did. So yeah, those are the 3 that I recommend. You would be fine if that's all you did. And then for my number 4 honorable mention is my Help foliar spray. It is something that we spray on our leaves. It gives your plants a very gentle fertilizer. It helps to get your plant nutrients, because a healthy plant is able to take in nutrients from its leaves. Help is the name. Again, you don't have to go for all of these brands. I'm not sponsored by any of these brands. I don't get paid by these brands. But what I do is I use all of these. I love them all. And if you want to have similar results, look for something similar to this. And so, like I said, you can go down and you can deep dive into all of these things as much as you want to. But at the end of the day, if you're a beginner gardener, you want to be successful. I want you to be successful, and I want to make this easy for you. So those are my top picks for soil fertility. These products are going to help you boost your soil fertility, and this approach is going to help you. Just know that as long as you're minding that N, P, and K, and you're just trying your best to do that, then you're going to succeed, and you're going to have a great opportunity to grow a lot of food. So this was day 3. This was day 3's content for the challenge, and that was making sure you've got your fertilization where it needs to be. We can go into all kinds of in-depth topics in the comments if you have questions about your soil fertility, or if you want more information, just comment below. And thanks a lot for being here with me on the challenge. All you have to do to keep getting this challenge content, this 30-day garden challenge content, is just follow me, subscribe, wherever you're seeing this. Just follow to make sure. All right, bye for now.